Hello and welcome to one more episode. Now, this episode should break YouTube and maybe break LinkedIn because I think I've hacked it. No, don't get me wrong, I didn't hack LinkedIn or do anything unethical. So I was thinking, is there a way to automate job search? And I'm not talking about just applying for jobs. Is there a way to automate really finding the right people on LinkedIn that can get you a job? Now, if you did anything when it comes to automation, apps, LinkedIn is very hard to deal with. They're very protective of their information. It's nearly impossible to scrape the website unless you have a client approved by them or you are a genius in coding something that will work around that without going into the risk of getting banned off LinkedIn or having your IP blocked. Nevertheless, I thought, what if I created an automation? I didn't know how to do it at that time. That will develop for me a database of headhunters that operate in my domain and industry, and maybe are available in my geography, and getting information and means to contact them that you don't find typically on LinkedIn because either they don't accept the invites or their accounts are locked and it's very hard basically to communicate with them. And I think I've done it. And it was much better than I expected it to be. And if you stick to the end, I will show you something I added to that automation that will make it much more powerful as a tool. And without further ado, let me show you how I hunt the headhunters. Now, let me show you the amazing result. Now you'll have to take my word for it because I will have to cover some of the personal information of the people this automation collected for me and added to this database for obvious reasons. But as you can see, the automation, I did it to run weekly and it just ran yesterday and it gave me 10 headhunters that are related to procurement and supply chain, which is my day job. And all of them, you can see here, are in my region, which is United Arab Emirates. One of them is in Saudi Arabia. And the companies that they work in are prominent top corporates and companies within the region. And you can see what I collected about them. The location, the role, obviously the name at the beginning, the email, phone, mobile, current company, the headline that they have on their profile, because that sometimes gives you an idea of the person, the URL for their profile, and then even their skills and the number of connections that they have. Now, the other part, the last part, is the cherry on the top at the end. I'll cover that later. Now, I have enough information about each headhunter for me to be able to contact them. And if you consider all of this, I have now enough information to go to these 10 headhunters that I know are looking for people like me and communicate with them, add them, maybe contact them in different means if I collect that through the automation. To be clear here, some of the contact information that you never see on LinkedIn, like phone number and email, I am able to collect in this automation, but the hit rate is around 30%, which I think is fair enough. Because if you imagine this automation runs weekly, I will have at some point a huge database of headhunters that fit my career aspiration that I can go to. So some of them that I have contact information, I can use those to contact them directly. For others, I can simply go to their profile URLs and add them as a contact or send them a message over LinkedIn. But I know having them on this list means they're directly correlated to my industry and even my region where I work. And if I don't have that information, I can simply go to their LinkedIn URL, add them as a contact, send them a message, and try to interact with them. But with this, I know for a fact that these are laser-focused individuals that are interested with skill and expertise in my domain and operate in my region. So I have high probability that they will be interested. So super powerful automation. And I do not think anyone did anything like this on YouTube. And I'm giving away the concept all for free. So let's go to the actual automation so I can explain how it works. Okay, so this is my automation, and ironically, I called it the HR Hunter. So this is something that runs weekly. So you can see that step. It's simple, just runs on day 5 of the week, which is I think a Saturday, I put it, and it runs at 3 p.m. So the main tool, the main capability behind this automation is perplexity.com. And this kind of AI search engine capability clearly will change how things work in the future. I'm sure people will try to reduce the ability to do these things through that, but I'm going to use it and I'm going to milk it while it still operates. So what's the first step in this automation when it triggers on a weekly basis? So the first thing is a general search of profiles. And here you can see this is my Perplexity API call, and this is my prompt. And it's not a short one, but basically I am telling Perplexity, obviously you can invest more in your prompting and see the results. But this worked really well for me. And you can just copy it from the screen here. What I've asked Perplexity to do for me is to search online for headhunters, recruiters, HR, whatever the term is around that domain of work, and look for people in the United Arab Emirates where I live, and then look for people who are, as a second criteria, operate or interested or where their profiles mention anything about procurement and supply chain, which is my domain. And what this will do, it will go search for these influential individuals, and that's an important part. And I added some randomness here in the prompt itself. And notice here the temperature is 0.5. So I can increase the temperature and see how that would result. I wanted to start with a low temperature, but it's working well with this, but you can play around with it. Now, going back to the prompt, I'm asking Perplexity as well not to have a structured means of searching. So basically, it's not a standard search because I want to avoid every week getting the same results. While that could be fine, I want it to be more random to keep adding to my records in my database. And I specified a very specific JSON format that I want Perplexity to return the results in. So I want it basically in a very structured JSON format so I can deal with each data point about each profile in a very easy manner at different steps of the automation. So the first thing I do is I created a small code, Python code, through Code by Zapier to parse that JSON. So usually when you get a response from Perplexity and even sometimes from ChatGPT, it will always give you some kind of text, and then it will give you the JSON that you asked for and maybe some text after that. So I created a simple code in Code by Zapier that will take that input from Perplexity as an output, and it will clean it up and it will return purely the JSON payload or the JSON body itself and nothing else. So I have this as my second step. This is the code. That's the whole thing. If you're interested, leave me a comment in the comment section. I can either add it to the description or put it in the code. And simply it takes the Perplexity output and it will go through it and it will parse this for me and give me back only the JSON. A simple prompt on ChatGPT will give you this code, but I'm happy to give it to you if you leave me a comment in the comment section. Now I have the profiles in a JSON format. So I have objects. Each object will have the name, the URL, and other criteria. At this level, I'm doing that kind of generic search. Now I want to create a loop, and this is the loop by Zapier. What I do here is I ask Zapier, I need you to go through those objects. So let's say it found 15 profiles. I need you to go through them one by one, and we're going to have a very detailed, deeper research on each one of them to get more information. So the first thing I do is an individual profile search. So again, we go back to Perplexity. So here, if you see in this API call, which is pretty much the same, it's the completions API call, there's a much bigger prompt. Here, what I am telling Perplexity is for this individual, I want you to take their name, their profile URL, and then the headline of their account. These are things that I felt can make it easier for Perplexity to understand the individual who I'm talking about. And I'm asking Perplexity to search for them across the internet, not only on LinkedIn, and try to gather specific information about them, like email, phone number, and other things. And this is what I think they call internet fingerprinting. I think all of us leave those traces everywhere around the internet. So you might not have your email exposed on LinkedIn or your phone number, but if someone really search well enough, they might find your information somewhere else. I'm just asking Perplexity to automate this and do it for me. So it will go through the internet, it will try to get all of these pieces of information, very specific. And again, you can see here, I'm asking Perplexity to return all those results for that individual in a specific JSON format. And you can see, for example, I'm asking for current role, email address, mobile number, current company, profile headline, and other pieces of information that I think are important. So Perplexity will go out there, search for that name on LinkedIn and other sources, and start collecting this information. Whatever it finds, it will get back to me. Now, I made it clear and I explained what each field in that JSON format I gave means. So how is a phone number different from a mobile number? What is a profile headline? And so forth. So the results will be more accurate. Again, you can do better, or you can play with the prompt. If you want to do so, you can get maybe better results. But this will help Perplexity get me more accurate insights onto the person from other means other than LinkedIn. Once I get the information about this specific profile or person, and this is the first loop in the loop that I created, so it will go through all the profiles that it captures in the first phase of the automation, it will again parse that JSON format in the same manner. Perplexity will give the outcome, it might not be clean. We will use the code by Zapier Python code that I got from ChatGPT to pass it and just return with the JSON format payload only. So we'll look at that. It's pretty much the exact same code, the same thing, just is taking the input from this step number 5, which is giving the information about a specific profile. Now here, I wanted to ensure that whatever profile I collect in my database is an active profile, is a real thing. Because when you do search through AI, sometimes it will get you a URL that doesn't work. And dealing with LinkedIn is very tricky. So I try to do a ping through Python. I try to do different ways to really validate that URL. It never worked. So you keep getting no response, or you've been blocked by LinkedIn. So I found a way online to solve this problem and validate if a URL is active or not, which is surprisingly simple. And it is simply sending an HTTP request, a GET request, to the profile URL. Yes, I said it right. So you send a GET request, simply a GET request, no body, no headers, no parameters, to the LinkedIn profile URL. The response will come from that. It will not be an error. It will be something in HTTP format. So let me show you the step. So here I take the URL for the LinkedIn profile. I do webhooks. I'm using webhooks by Zapier, and I do a GET request, and nothing else is there. And I'll get out of that an HTML response. Now, what I've done here is I created another step in Code by Zapier. And this is again a code I created with ChatGPT, very simple code that will simply read that HTML code for me. And this is JavaScript actually, not Python. And within that HTML code, the information that the URL is active or not is there. And what this will do, this code will pick that information and either return to you that it is authenticated, not authenticated, or unknown. And all what I've been doing in the last couple of steps is leading me to this filter. I do not want any profiles to go into my database that are either not valid people or not valid accounts. I want to validate it. The easiest way to validate is that URL Perplexity picked up is actually an active profile. And what I do here is once I get that HTML, I analyze it, I get the response that I already explained, I put a filter. And that filter is that the status out of that step of Code by Zapier should be active. So if the response comes active or something containing active, it will go through. If it's anything other than that, it will block the profile from being added to my database. Now I have a profile, it's checked, I have all the information scavenged from the internet. I go to a step, again, this is within the loop, to create or update a record. Because I'm conscious that in future searches, Perplexity might find the same person and go through the loop and find new or more information about that individual. So I want to take that and update the record. in Airtable or my database. So this is what this step is all about. I start taking the objects from the JSON format and assign them to the different columns or fields in my database or table as you've seen. So this is the end result of 10 profiles that you've seen on my Airtable. Now this takes me to the cherry on the top. So I thought I have now an automation that gives me all those data points about these individuals. And I know me, so maybe I can marry both. So what I do in this step is I take all of that information about a certain individual in a profile. I will ask ChatGPT as an AI to look at their information, look at my information, my professional information, and then craft a message, short one, a sweet one, that I can use and send them either to add them as a contact on LinkedIn or maybe just to leave an impression. So they might remember me in the future, even if they decide not to accept my invite as a contact. And I asked ChatGPT, just make it something catchy, memorable, and something that would leave an impression, a positive impression, obviously. So we go to ChatGPT, it's a conversation here. And if I want to be fancy about this, I'll just create an assistant that has all my information that can do much more with this. And I'm feeding it, as you see, the information about this individual. And I gave it the CV, my CV, and I pasted my CV here, literally. And then it will give me the outcome of the message. And again, it will update the record. And this automation will do that for me without me worrying about a thing. Every week, it will take those profiles, clean them up, validate them, do a deep search on them, add them to my table, craft a message for me, put it in that table, and the only thing left for me to do from now on is go to this database, look through the names. If I see someone interesting, an interesting company, someone more related to my business or my domain, I already have the message ready. I'll just take that message, go to their profile, add them, send them that message. And I think it is very easy to say that this will definitely speed up and make my job search 10 times more probable and easier. I honestly don't know. I think I created something crazy. Am I overexcited or I'm overblowing something you think is simple? I think it's great. I think for the first time ever, I don't need to think about who I know online that could really help me get the next job or seek my career opportunities or aspirations faster and better. I have an automation that does this for me. And I'm super excited. I'm gonna watch it, see how it progresses as a database, and I might do something if something interesting happens with the automation and coupled with Perplexity AI. And with this, I hope you've seen value and leave a comment in the comment section. You always give me ideas, so whatever comment you put will always have value and bearing for me and just makes me feel better. So put a comment in the comment section. If you like the video and you've seen value, do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, baby channel. I hope I keep providing you value, and if you want to keep getting that value, do not forget to hit that bell icon thing so you can keep getting my videos once I publish them. And with this, thank you and goodbye.